Welcome to the Weaver Podcast, your guide to crafting relationships that thrive. Through insightful dialogues and transformative wisdom, we'll unravel the complexities of communication and connection. Let's weave a world where every relationship is built upon mutual respect, deep understanding, and harmony. I'm your host, SONJA Wood. I'm a soul-driven mediator and a visionary leader. I am devoted to elevate consciousness and cultivate thriving relationships. My deepest calling is to help all my clients create true, authentic, and extraordinary relationships where they are not only heard and understood, but also deeply respected. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to that new episode today. Oh, this is really feeling good to start a week fresh on Monday morning, and I wanted to share some thoughts about some topics I hear a lot about lately, which is about the money. And, there is with new vocabulary words that are coming in, like money talk or money mindset or money coach or all those things. And it gave me some thoughts, I think even more when I did my certification for family mediation, and we were talking about money, because when you have family mediation that includes divorce, you have the separation of assets and you need to figure out who gets what. And this is honestly, between you and me, this is a part of mediation I'm not really liking much, because for me, transformative mediation is so much more, it has so much more insight. You can, when you have a mediation where it's not just the end point, it's not just looking at cash, looking at numbers, the focus is really the relationship. And that's the point of transformative mediation, is the transformative mediation has a focus on the relationship. A lot of mediation I'm doing are actually cases that go to the court and the judge requests a mediation to, minimize the docket or help the court to go faster in their process. So when we receive the mediation, we get, people coming in because the judge requested they try mediation. They're still free to say no, but it's better if they say yes. So it can be a discussion on itself. It's not the topic today, but I wanted to share the context for you to understand why money is such a big talk and in mediation, and in which context it's becoming a big topic. And during that training, we were talking about transparency around assets. So we do what we call financial inventory for the couple, where we're gonna basically list all the assets, all the liability. We're gonna describe, from the house to the jewelries, to the furnitures, to even, I think pets are also into that inventory. Believe me or not, I assure you that for some people, and I've seen that in mediation, the dog is as important as a child. So you're going to talk about who get the dog, what week, how often, and so on. To look back to the financial aspect, so you have this financial inventory, and that financial inventory is, I believe, one thing that everybody should do at least once, even if you're not in a divorce, because this is such a powerful tool to first put numbers on what you own, what are your possessions, and eventually realize you have a lot more than you think you have. And also, as a family, it just set the ground to a financial transparency. And why I believe financial transparency is important, and I assure you, I'm the one who asks questions a lot. And the way my family is put together, I'm asking a lot of questions. If there is something I want to understand, if there is numbers I need to have, I'm going to ask for them. And it's something I really encourage my client also to have, to be boldly asking if they need information. What happens a lot in families or in couples is that the topic around money is a lot of time avoided, or it's pretty vague. We're talking about it but not talking really about the numbers, and then you end up like I listened to podcasts this summer. You ends up with a couple that is together for 10 years, and the lady had no idea the guy had $9,000 on a saving account. So you need to talk about money. Yes, talk about money, but you need to be specific. You need to ask specific questions and numbers. This financial transparency, I believe, is essential. And you have examples where couples are maybe not comfortable talking about money. And that should be a warning as how is the communication between the partners. When you have difficulty to talk about money, when money is something that is complicated to talk about or making you uncomfortable, or you see when you talk about budgeting, investment, expenses, when you talk about this, people around you or you maybe yourself becomes defensive. It's already a sign of the communication. Before talking about money, the communication has some loophole. So you need to address the communication and why communication has an impact on, or communication issues has an impact on what you can talk about or how easy it is to talk about, such as money, because money is tangible. Money is something very concrete, very, very tangible. You can touch, it's numbers, it's factual. When you have in a relationship issues, it's a lot of things that are not tangible, like emotions, needs, perception, trust, reliability, accountability, all those things. You can't put numbers on it. You can try to assess by percentage, okay? Maybe I trust that person more than before, but you're not putting numbers on it. So when you have those underlying issues that have, for maybe that were here for weeks or months, maybe some event happened and you're having a hard time to really trust your partner, it's a logical consequences that some topics are more difficult to address with your partner. So when we talk about financial transparency, the easiness to talk about money in a partnership, in a couple, in a family, what we need to address is, if it's not easy to talk about it, is first how much trust I have for this person. How much do I feel comfortable to talk about other things with them? Do I feel my needs are respected? Do I feel my boundaries are respected? Am I feeling emotionally secure around this person? And it's those underlying things that are not tangible that needs to be addressed first. And then we talk about money. What happens a lot, and that's my thought, I'm just sharing today, is just what I observe is people absolutely want to talk about money. And I can assure you, like, there is a French episode, Richissime, which is it's a really good episode. It's a really good podcast, I believe. And every summer, agree or not with the principal, but every summer she is doing online coach, like live coaching on a podcast. So she's taking couples, like 4 or 5 different couples, and every week she's going to coach them live on the podcast, and we can listen to that. So they agree to it, of course. agree or not with the ethics of that, but however, I believe it's actually interesting. My curiosity is just too big to not listen. So I listen to it, and every single episode, they come to talk about their budgeting, their investment, how they can get out of debts. And they end up, after half hour or an hour, they end up talking about communication. Yes, because when you have trouble to talk about money, when you don't have the financial transparency within your household, most likely underlying cause are that the needs are need to be addressed. Your emotions, or how your partner, how you perceive your partner, your those uncalculable things, those things that you can't put numbers on. There is a reason why when I have students in my program Self-Mastery, the first thing we do is addressing values and needs and emotions. Not necessarily in that order, but it's actually all together. Because your values, how you align to your values, and that's, I think, back 5 years ago or 6 years ago, the values exercise about values maybe seem very simple, maybe seem very trivial, but I can assure you that if you've never questioned what is important to you, because maybe you've been like me, you've been following a path, studying something, going to post-grad school or university, and not really questioning, yeah, but this is where I'm going because, yeah, that's pretty nice and I have more chance to get a job. If you've never questioned what is important to you, you might have a hard time in your relationships, because not questioning your values impacts how you set boundaries with others. If you don't know where is your ground, what is absolutely non-negotiable to you, then your boundaries are going to be more floppy. This impacts, of course, everything else. So your values, your boundaries, your emotions, how you perceive people around you. Are you constantly worrying to be accepted? Are you worrying to do the right job, the right thing all the time? Because you want to be part of something, you want to be accepted for what you do. So all this, I address it in the first week of my program, because I know this is the first step when you want to build authentic, respectful relationship with soul-to-soul connections. So financial transparency, highly important, I believe. I know that in history, it's been kind of secret, varies in the world, various people, millionaires, billionaires, but it's kind of secret. We don't really know how to make the money. We don't really know what they do with it, or it's kind of very secret around it. And for any reason, I'm currently studying that a little bit to understand why it's been so secret, and is that actually is there actually a tangible explanation for it to be so secret? So we need to get out of that. We need to get out of money is kind of mysterious, because it's not. It's such a universal resource all around the world. And even more, from that resource, we met it to have that resource being different in any different country, and yet we met it to have a conversion that make equivalence. You don't have that with other resources. Corn is corn in other countries. Bread is bread in other countries. But money, it has dollar, it has euro, it has Swiss franc, it has Canadian dollars, it has so many different currency, and yet we end up with the same resource. So we need to be able to talk about it freely, in full transparency. Another thing that I'm thinking about it, and another thing that actually creates some fog around money, is when we start talking about numbers, it creates it triggers a lot in different people, because we all have our own family history. We all have our own experiences around money and savings and expenses and budgeting. And money can be a lot of stress, a source of stress if you've been struggling, or if you've had a lot of money but never really learned how to manage the finances. That can also result in stress and fear of losing all, and fear of not being smart enough to deal with much more money, or all those fears. But by avoiding to talk about the numbers, then we're actually not solving the problem. So in my view of financial transparency, it includes that you talk about numbers and with your partner more than anyone else. And you're not avoiding, when it's what I was talking about before, when you have to talk about budgeting, investment, expenses, you give specific numbers. You give specific numbers and not avoid it. If it triggers something, look at it. It's a great learning curve if it triggers something, because this month, oh my God, you had maybe $200 in electricity, and you feel the stress and you feel the nervosity. And when you talk about it, it's triggering that stress that for you, maybe you feel, oh, that's too much. I don't know. It's not okay to spend that much in electricity. Instead of avoiding and say, okay, we'll do better next month, let's forget it, address why this specific number is a source of stress. Why? And a question that can be also very interesting is that the number by itself, that 200, you feel it's a lot, and you're stressed out because it's going out of your bank account. You need to see if it's a number, or is that the 200 specifically for electricity? Because if it were 200 for food, or for hobbies, or something else, or for the gym, would that trigger the same stress? That can be also very interesting to look at, because that gives some information about how you value things. If you believe that electricity should be cheaper than paying $200 for going to the gym every day, every week, then you're valuing the gym more than electricity. Is that a right thought? Is that a good pattern to have? I don't know. You have the answer. However, it's a precious information to see what you value the most. So I wanted to really discuss about that financial transparency. And if you're interested to have at least a starting point to work toward financial transparency, you can download the free template on my website. I put it on my website for free because I believe really everyone should do the exercise. And I'm in the process of doing it myself. I tell you, it's some work to go through everything, because it goes from, if you have a house or an apartment, it goes from this to the car you own, to all the possession you have, really every single thing, the furnitures. And it's, I believe, really, really important that we all learn to do that inventory. And now, whether you do it every year, every 5 years, it's not really important. But it's even more important when you have kids to see where is the cash going, and that gives a really great starting point to create a baseline for money. For either you want to use it for budgeting, you want to use it for looking at your investment, or looking at everything. So of course the difference is being when you're the template you'll see on the website, you'll see, if you download it, the template has 2 different columns for each spouse or each partner. It's just for the reason that when you're doing that for divorce procedures, you're going to see who gets what. However, when I say you can do it, even if your couple is doing great, even if your family is doing great, do it even if you're curious about what it is, what it looks like, because what you can do is also having as a family what we got, without having to split anything, of course. Now you're gonna maybe have some personal valuables, some, like if you have some jewelries, or if you have some valuable collection that are really your own, then you can, put it on your column. But as a household, I see it as more we have an inventory rather than we split everything. I'm in the process of doing it. I'm being really honest, and it's kind of work. You need to, you're like doing a little investigation. You need to look at all the values. I encourage you to not only list everything but also put numbers on it. So if you have a car, for example, you need to look at what model it is and what current market price it is valued at now, and you can use different comparative websites to do that. So I really, really encourage you to do that financial inventory, because I believe when you reach the point where you can talk transparently about money with your partner, with your kids, with your family, then it's deepening the level of trust and of connection between you and the other person. So that's really what I encourage you to do. Just a Monday morning, thought, philosophy. Take what resonates, as always. If you like it, please share, put some 5 stars or any comment that will help the podcast to be spread around and talk about it around you. But I really wish you the best day for now, and I talk to you soon. Bye.